G'day guys, this is Big T. Welcome to the Rockarmor workshop. Today I've got the 78 series Troopy up on the hoist and I'm going to be fitting the Rockarmor rear wheel carrier to the vehicle. So the Rockarmor wheel carrier fits to the whole 70 series, so whether you've got a 76, 78, it fits the whole lot. Now the rear bar replaces the whole rear step on the vehicle, so it wraps right around the back and gives you that extra protection right around the whole vehicle. The great thing with the Rockarmor wheel carrier is that you keep your existing tow bar, so you don't have to remove the factory one. 99% of vehicles already have the tow bar fitted, so we're not removing that, we're keeping that, and the rear bar is just going to sit right over the top of it. So, some of the features with the Rockarmor wheel carrier. We've got this really nice checker plate finish on the top there, just to give you that grip if you want to stand on it to get up onto your roof. We've got the 31mm stub axles, so that's a larger stub axle than normal. The reason for that is Rockarmor is probably one of the only ones in Australia that warrant 35-inch tyre. So that's why the extra large stub axle is there. It comes standard with your LED reverse lights, park lights, indicators, brake lights, and I'll show you once the bar's on the vehicle, the latching system. That's the best part of the bar, how easy it is to access your vehicle when these arms are fitted to the vehicle. Okay, so I'll go ahead now. I'm just going to strip the rear of the vehicle and then get ready to fit the wheel carrier. Okay, so I've stripped the rear of the vehicle there. I've got these brackets, so you'll see two of these in the kit, also two of these. These are going to be our mounting brackets. So to start off with, this bracket here sits like that. So the rear three mounts are going to be mounted to the chassis. These front mounts are going to be to the bar. So if you come in close there, so these are the 3 points that I'll be using on the side of the chassis, with these 3 points there. It's going to sit in place as so, and I'm going to put my my bolt through with the bolt, spring and flat, and I'm going to put them on both sides. Just going to put them in loosely, and then I'm going to fit the bar onto that. So I've just got my fitting kit laid out here. So these silver ones, they're the ones that are going to be, I'm going to be using for these rear ones, for the chassis. Now for the front three, I'll be using the coarse threads, and I've got 3 on each side, and I've got the nuts, the flats and the springs. Now these really large ones, they're going to be used right at the end with the washer, and that's going to be that's going to hold the gooseneck into place onto the arm. Now I've got 4 of these fine threads, just put a spring and a flat. Now they're going to go into the rear of the chassis, but what I'm going to do, just to help the bar go on easier, I'm going to run these through the chassis just a couple of times first, just to make sure I've got a clean fit. And then I've got these other bolts here which are going to be used for these side wing brackets. So this side wing bracket is going to mount like that and to the side of the bar. So I'm just going to clean all the holes out. Being an older vehicle, they build up a bit of gunk in all the mounting points. So just to make it easier, I'm going to run my bolts through all the points, all the way in and out. Just so once I've got the bar on there, just makes things a lot easier to mount. Once all that's done, the bar's ready to, I'm just going to put these side brackets on and the bar's ready to go.
Which ones are they? These ones?
The gold one, the silver one there.
They have had these full uniformed up, hat, shirt. I reckon reckon there's undies saying Rockarmor. Right in front of his cock's probably got a bullhorn.
So I've got all three mounting points in there. So I've just tightened them up hand tight there. Now there's one more point at the back. Depending the vehicle, some vehicles have a mounting point in the chassis, others don't. If your vehicle doesn't, don't worry about it, just leave it out. Just put both sides on. Now we're ready to put the bar on. Get on the outside. Yep. Fine threads here, the bar's on the vehicle. Just behind that I've got 4 mounting points. So get the bolt just under there and put these 4 mounting points in hand tight. So I've got the bar up, I'll put my 4 fine threads in the centre there. So they're just hand tight, and we'll tighten those right up at the end once we've got all the other brackets in. So I've got these side brackets here. It's going to marry up with the chassis bracket that we mounted earlier. This goes in as so, and you'll see there's a little mounting point just on the inside of the bar. So I've got this mounting point on the side, and this bracket's just going to marry up to it as so, and just nut and bolt straight through there, flat spring and nut. So I've got 2 bolts on this side and 2 on the bar side. Do them all up hand tight. So I've got the second bolt, and just put it on the top there, and flat spring nut. So these are the last 3 mounting points that I've got. Just get the bolt fit it through, flat spring nut on the inside. Now, just to make things a little bit easier, you can remove this reverse light. It's only got 2 10mm on the bottom, and it just makes it a little easier to get all the bolts in and tighten it up. Good. So I've got the 3 mounting points on the side there, so just do them up hand tight. Put all 3 in each side, on both sides there. So now I've got all my nuts and bolts in place. I'm just going to level up the bar, make sure I've got an even gap on each side of the vehicle, and I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the centre bolts. Then I'm going to tighten up the wing and then my support brackets. Once all of that's tightened up, we've got a couple of support brackets on the sides. We'll go through that once the bar's all tightened up. Done. So I've got that really nice even gap right around each side of the vehicle. I've just tightened up the 4 mounting points in the centre. So now I'm just going to tighten up my 3 on the side. And then once they're tight, I'm going to go through and tighten up my side brackets. In the fitting kit, you'll find these brackets. So this bracket here is the only one that needs to be drilled onto the bar. So those 2 holes there will mount onto the wing of the bar. And then these brackets here, you'll have a U-bolt around the chassis that will pick up these 2 points, and this point here is going to marry up to there. So this is a support bracket for the wing, just to take out any vibration on the side when you're driving. Now, depending the vehicle that you have, you can either line this bracket up, or this bracket sits as so, and the U-bolt will sit on an angle around the chassis. So today for the troop carrier, I'll be using this bracket. This bracket's going to mount on the side of the suspension there and marry up with our side bracket. This bracket here is used for a 76 series Land Cruiser. So I've got my U-bolt. This bracket's just going to sit up as so. The U-bolt's going to go around the chassis. It's going to sit there. I'm going to put my flat spring and nut to hold it in place. I've got the support bracket there. Now I've just set that in place there. It's sitting along the chassis. I've got the U-bolt as so, wraps around the chassis from the back and comes through the bracket at the front and just secures with a flat spring nut. So that's just sitting there loosely. And then this is my support bracket. There's a nut and a bolt, they marry up on the bottom there. So this is just going to give us an indication. I'll tighten the U-bolt and then mark out where our mounting point's going to fit. I'm going to drill these two holes out, mount this to the bar and then bolt that into place as so. So this is for the driver's side, the bracket. I'm just going to mount this up on the side of the chassis there, U-bolt around, and this is going to marry up with our support bracket that will be drilled into place. You got this, Marco? Mm-hmm.
أي جاب تبي؟
أقول لك
واحد الله. Shit.
You can't move it. You can't do nothing.
Does it even have these arms?
So I've got the bracket in place there. The U-bolt's holding it to the chassis, and just the bolt just straight through, just to secure it in place there. Now the rest of the bar's all tight, so you can tighten these up straight away now. So I've got my wing bracket in place there with the U-bolt. Now this is a support bracket that joins them with the bar. This sits as so. There's two mounting points. Just mark them out. I'm just going to drill those out now and put a nut and a bolt securing that to the bar, and then one bolt securing our wing bracket in place. So I put it in place as so, and then flat spring nut. I'm just going to put a nut and a bolt in there and tighten it all up. Alrighty, so the bar's all in place, all tightened up, all ready to go. Now it's just time for the arm. We're just going to grease up the arms and then we're going to install them, and this vehicle's ready to hit the road.